Little bro, Sos. Welcome to the Players Perspective Uncensored Podcast, my man. So happy to get you on, man. I know you're a busy man, but glad you took a little bit of time out of your day to check in with us, man. Glad to have you on. How's everything been going?
Everything good, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'm happy to be here. Just taking it easy and enjoying the summer like everyone else, man.
Dope. I hear you, man. But it's the podcast, man, where we like to, pay homage and talk to some of the greats that played at the University of Louisville and greats that played the game, period, in all sports. And so we definitely wanted to get you on and have you on and talk to you for a minute and just kind of catch up with you, man, and see what's going on.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate for having me. Hello.
For sure. So the first question that I got to ask you, because it's part of the podcast, is have you ever tried bourbon? I know you went to school in Louisville, and that's a big thing in Kentucky. You ever tried it?
I'm not really sure. I know bourbon is big in the Ville. You see it everywhere you go. You see bourbon. I don't really remember if I had it or not, but I've seen it often.
Bet. That's all right. That's all right. Next time you come, man, we definitely got to make sure you get it tried in so you can remember it for sure.
I have to, man. I have to try it for sure.
So let's go ahead and dive in, man, and get right to it. So coming up, man, who inspired you to want to be great, to have that drive to play basketball? Who was somebody that you may have modeled your game after when you were coming up as a youngster?
Well, my favorite coming up was Stephon Marbury. Till this day, someone I've never met, but someone that's from my city, from where I'm from, and I wanted to do everything like Starbury. The way I played the game, getting tattoos in my arm and everything. He's just my idol, man. I wanted to be just like him growing up.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Now I've heard you talk about and express about being a Dickman baller. Now I know in every city there's a playground, there's a park that you got to go to sort of get stamped or certified as a ball player.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Dickman Park. Is that like the certification stamp playground in the Bronx?
Oh, it's the one place where you have to show yourself, and it's become in so many ways kind of like the mecca of street ball basketball in New York City.
Even bigger than Rucker?
At this point, I think it will have to be. I think the Rucker will always have the history. It will always have the Kobe's, the Dr. J's, Allen Iversons. But I'm talking about, if you would say who has the buzz the last, I would say 10 years, Dickman Uptown definitely has it. And, it just happens to be that that's where I'm from. So that's where I got my start. That's where I built my confidence. That's where I think everything started for me as far as basketball goes.
So give me some legends. Who are some Dickman Park legends that have come through in the past few years, man, that are really been certified or stamped playing at that park, besides yourself?
Over the last few years, you will have to say, a good percentage of the NBA All-Stars, you will have to say, Kevin Durant, Mike Beasley, Kyrie Irving, just the guys that we all know. But then you have the guys like Who Shot JR, Mr. Untouchable, guys that are from around the neighborhood. But if you go around that area, those guys are like legends and kings, because it's like they're respected by everyone from the neighborhood for playing well in that park. But the park has become like worldwide, whereas a lot of people know about it, but you have the legends, the local legends that are still around.
Right. This is in every city, man. It's always, you have the guys that made it out, but then you have some guys that didn't make it out but are well respected. And you'd be like,
they have everyone's respect
there. Yeah, exactly. So coming up, man, you in high school were one of the best ball players in New York City. You went to the famous Rice High School. You were one of the top players coming out in the country, one of the top players in the city of New York. You could have went to a lot of schools. You could have went to the Big East. You could have stayed the East Coast. What made you choose Louisville?
Well, for one, I knew that for college, I definitely wanted to go away. I wanted to get the full college experience. Like, that's something that I stressed out to my mom and older brother. At a young age, I would say probably like my sophomore year, I was like, I could, because at that time I started getting interest from like Seton Hall, St. John's, even Syracuse, who's 3 hours north from me. But I wanted to get like the full college experience. And it's crazy because, Francisco is from around my way.
Right.
And he went to Louisville. And when I really, really started, getting into college basketball was the year you guys went to the Final Four. And I remember just watching the Final Four and you guys' style of play and the way you guys made everything look so fun, not knowing how tiring it is to play that way and how much it takes up of your body. But you guys just made it like just awesome. Like I couldn't believe you could have that much fun playing. And once, Coach Willard came to recruit me, it was kind of like a no-brainer for me.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
Now, if you hadn't chose Louisville, where do you think you would have went to school? What would have been your second choice if you had not gone to Louisville?
My second choice, I think it would have been Miami, just because they kind of gave me the keys. Like when the coach came to recruit me at my high school, he kind of told me like, you're going to be the starter as a freshman. You're going to be in the ACC. At that time, Miami wasn't really, as good as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, you're gonna be a freshman. You're gonna start. I was gonna be in beautiful Miami, nice weather. So I probably would have ended up going there if I didn't want that challenge and I didn't want to stay in the Big East and play for the great Rick Pitino. I probably would have ended up there.
Right. Now, when you came in with a talented class, arguably one of the most talented classes in Louisville history. It was yourself, Earl Clark, Derek Character, and Jerry Smith. You still keep in touch with those guys a lot to this day?
We still talk. Actually, Earl was over my house because Earl lives in Florida as well. He was here about a month ago, and that was the first time I saw him in so long, and we was chopping it up. But we do the group chat thing on IG, and we keep in touch like that. But we haven't got together and been around one another in a few years.
Nice. Now, at your time having the Cardinal uniform on, what were some of your fondest memories, playing in the Cardinal uniform?
I would definitely have to say the shot against Kentucky. That's probably what I'm remembered for the most, probably. Even till this day, like I've played in so many countries, and it's crazy how everyone always remembers me from Louisville. And it's crazy because to me, my college career was just okay. Like I had a pretty good freshman year. I had a solid senior year. My 2 years in the middle was just okay for me. But it's crazy how many eyes we had on us during those years, because everywhere I go, like, oh, you're Sosa that played at Louisville. And I don't know why it happens, but that's where people always remember me from.
And it's especially crazy. In that game, Louisville, Kentucky, living in Louisville and in Kentucky, you can win. I mean, you can lose every game of the season, but as long as you win that game right there, you've had a successful season. And so to hit a dagger and a game-winning shot of that magnitude, man, in that game, you'll be a legend forever. And so just tell me, going back to that moment, what was going through your mind, man? Because it was a tie game, and it was like 20 seconds to go. And you brought the ball across half court. And what is Coach yelling to you? Because Coach is yelling and he's trying to organize things when you got the ball. He doesn't want to call timeout. But he might be saying one thing, but what was going through your mind?
Man, and it had been, so much going on, LO, during that time, because a couple of days prior to that, I really had a meeting with Coach P, and he really wanted me to transfer. Because, junior year, we started off and we were like top 5 in the nation and we were playing pretty good, but I wasn't playing my best basketball. And, we dropped a couple games. I think we lost to UNLV at home, and we wasn't playing well. And I know I wasn't playing well at all. And Coach P was like, I want you to transfer. Like, I no longer know how to coach you. Like, you shoot when you're supposed to pass. You pass when you're supposed to shoot. Like, I don't know how to coach you anymore. And I'm like, wow. And it's crazy because my junior year, Andre had been starting for most of the season, and he starts me that game. So I'm like, wait, he tells me to transfer, but then he starts me. And that game, I was just like, I'm just gonna go out there. I was already asked to transfer. Like, whatever happens, I got to go home anyway. Like, that's really what I thought at that age. Like,
right.
So, we had a good game. We were in control. Kentucky made a run. At the end, they tied it up. And I remember just getting the ball from T. Will. He inbounds it, and he's like, Coach P, he's supposed to run like a 1-4 pick and roll. And I'm like, bro, I'm taking this last shot. I don't care in my mind. I'm like, what's the worst thing that can happen? We go to overtime. But I'm like, bro, I'm taking this shot. So, you know, I go to make a move, and I just see the defender keep backing up, and I just stopped and just shot it, and it went, and it was crazy. But I really thought in my mind way before I got it, like, yo, I'm taking this last shot.
And the crazy part about it, he probably still got on you about the shot selection that you took, even though you made the shot.
For sure. I already knew if that shot would have missed, and something would have happened, that we would have lost in overtime. That would probably been my last game, bro.
Right. And, you know, people always ask me about what I thought about the teams that came after us. And they're like, how do you think you would have matched up with the 2012-13 team? Or how do you think you guys would have matched up against the 08-09 team? And I'm like, man, that 08-09 team, that was probably the most talented team that I've seen. And from my time being at Louisville and just keeping up with it, you know, from the time that I got there in the Rick Pitino era, that was probably, from a talent standpoint, that was probably the most talented team, man. And I was hurt, man, when you guys lost to Michigan State, but just to see all you guys on that team assemble, man, that was a heck of a job to assemble a talented team like that.
And I tell people, not to cut you off, I tell people all the time, like, that team, we legit had 2 starting fives. Like, you had 2 players at each position that were really good. I feel like the second 5 could have, you know, been at another school and probably got into the tournament. Like, that's how strong I feel about how talented we were during that year. But yeah, it's a pity we didn't go all the way. But that team was stacked from top to bottom.
Right. And so I talked to a lot of guys, especially that played after me. I talked to your Peyton Sievers, you talked to your Terrence Williams, you talked to your Samardo Samuels. And everybody raves about Edgar Sosa's work ethic. And so I want you to sort of talk to some of the young kids that might be listening, because it seems like everybody wants the glory and everybody wants the end results of trying to make it to the professional level. But the work ethic sometimes is not always there. They want these, you know, professional dreams, but they don't have the professional work ethic. Talk about what drove you and how you were able to get that habit of, you know, just putting in that hard work and having it to match the aspirations, because you have to have that work ethic to match the aspirations that you want.
Yeah, I think for me, it's always been about, like, just being humble and just, like, knowing my weaknesses. Like, I think for me, like, I'm super real with who I am as a basketball player. And I just try to attack my weaknesses, the things that I feel that I'm pretty good at. I try to stay sharp in those areas. And then the things that, you know, I could get better at, I try to. Like, you know, I always analyze myself, man, if I can cut down a couple pounds, I do this. If my shot ain't falling, I stay in the gym, shoot extra. But it's always about just wanting to be successful. Like, this is really, when you think about it, this is like, for me, I've never worked a day in my life, because it's like I get paid to do something that that I can do for free, that I would do for free.
Right.
So for me, it's always just like, I want to keep this a reality for as long as I can. So I just always attack it every day. Whatever I can do, whether it's an hour of cardio, getting shots up, going for a run, whatever it is, I always try to do it. So then when my career is over, I can never say, man, I could have went harder and maybe I could have played a year or 2 more. I just try to put my best foot forward every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if I was to ask you, what are the keys to being a great point guard? What would you say?
I would say right now, I think, LO, the game is changing so much. It went from when I was in college, the point guard had to be more of a distributor and you know, set the offense up. And now you see the NBA, most of the point guards on every team are averaging 20 points per game or higher. For me, what I try to do first is I always want to be a teammate or a point guard that my guys like playing with. Like, I don't care what I have to do. Like, if I have to rev you up, if I have to get in your face, whatever. When the season's over, I would like my teammates to be like, man, I like playing with Edgar as my point guard. So that's the first thing. And then always keep your shooters and your big man happy. Like, it's okay to to be aggressive and to take charge. But I feel like the most important thing for a point guard is just to keep your teammates happy, because you have the ball 90 to 80% of the time, when you're the point guard. So you can pick your spots of when you want to be aggressive. But if I had to like dumb it down to just one thing, I'll just be like, try to just keep your teammates happy.
Nice. Now, since you left the University of Louisville and since, Coach Pitino's left, have you had a chance to keep up with the Cards and see how they're doing under the new era with Coach Mack?
Not the new era so much. I follow the U of L page. I haven't watched college basketball in so long. I make sure to watch the Kentucky game every year. But after like the Peyton class, I've kind of don't watch religiously anymore. Like I watched Peyton and Russ all the way through. I made sure I watched every one of those games. But now since I'm getting older, a lot has changed. There's a lot of different faces. I haven't kept up with it as much. But it's something that I'm always going to do for my Cardinals for sure.
That's crazy for me to sit here and watch and listen to you say, "Yeah, I've gotten old. I'm a vet in the game now." Man. That's crazy to me.
Man, just the other day, I was and it's crazy. I tell people all the time, like, bro, I remember my first day of college, and I look up now and I'm like, I'm 32. Like I've been out of college 10 years. It's just time flies, bro.
I know. So. I want to flash back to 2011. It was a life-changing moment for you. You're playing for your national team, the Dominican Republic. You guys are trying to qualify for the Olympics.
Yep.
And you have a life-changing injury, a Paul George type of injury.
Yep.
I want you to talk about the mental fortitude that it took to come back from that, because that would have ended 95 to 99% of most people's careers.
Right.
And I want you to talk about the mental fortitude it took to come back from that and how it changed you as a player and as a man.
Man, it changed me in so many ways, Alo. Like the first thing it did for sure is that it humbled me. It humbled me because, after 4 years of college and, as a competitor, what you always do, you always try to compare. So, man, I was my first rookie year. I was in overseas. I was in Italy. Me and AJ Slaughter was on the same team. We grew to be great friends. But I didn't appreciate it. Like, I'm out here. I'm living in one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I'm getting paid. I'm playing a high level of basketball. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I should have made the NBA. Why I'm not in the NBA? Da, da, da. So I don't know if certain things happen in your life to make you appreciate. But once I did break my leg, it was then that I understood how blessed I was to play basketball for a living, because now that was gone. I don't have, the salary coming in. I'm injured now. So it's kind of like starting from ground zero.
Right.
So it was literally the toughest time of my life. Like basketball has been everything that I've known up until that point. Now I can't do that. So now it's like, who's Edgar Sosa like? So that's when I dove headfirst into therapy. I said, I'm either going to come back to be a basketball player and do what I love, or I'm going to just hurt myself trying to, because I'm going to do everything in the book to get myself back to 100. And it took a lot of time. It took times that I said, I give up. I'm about to just write up my resume and start working. Like, it really broke me down, but just to see myself, I had, a good support cast. My mom always just told me to keep going, to don't quit. My trainer was good. And bro, I kept attacking, and I just saw myself getting better and better little by little. Okay, it doesn't hurt anymore. Okay, I can run now. I can jog. Like, I can play now. Now I just have to build my confidence, and just to sit back and look how all that happened. It was crazy, but it was crazy that it took so much out of me. I love when I felt like basketball was done for me, to then put in all the work and go through rehab and therapy, and then just see myself back out there in the uniform and signing a contract. It was just everything for me.
I bet, man. I bet. And so along that journey, because I kept up with it as well, and I would try to send you little encouraging messages, because I know mentally it's tough, man. And I can't speak from experience because I've never been there. I can only speak from some injuries that have put me down maybe a couple months, and how tough it is for that So I can't even imagine what you went through. But I also watched you really develop a relationship with one of our video coordinators and student managers, Matt Morris.
Yeah.
And he really helped you through. What did he mean to you during that journey? Because also seen that you got baptized as well.
Yeah, Matt was everything for me during that time. I mean, it was my first year out of school. So it's kind of like I didn't have like, that safety net of if something happens to you while you at school, it's kind of like the school takes care for you. You have the community there around you. And when it happened for me, it was kind of like, okay, like I got surgery now. I'm back home in New York. Like no one ever, like people care when you go through stuff, but at the end of the day, like everyone has their own problems in their own everyday life that they have to go through. So they can care about you, but at the end of the day, you have to be strong within yourself to do the things that you have to do. And Matt he was always there. He always called me. He would invite me to the Ville to get my mind off of it. He'll send me, passages from the Bible to read, things that just gave me confidence to keep me going. And he's been awesome, man. Matt's a great guy.
Dope. And so now you've been playing professionally for 10 years, man. You've come back stronger than ever. What have been some of your favorite places that you've played at around the world?
I would say my favorite is New Zealand. And let me just say one thing about me is I've been to these beautiful places, hello, and I appreciate it. But for me, there's no place like home. Like I go to these places and I love them, I enjoy them, but I'm always in the back of my mind thinking, I can't wait to go home. You know what I mean? And New Zealand has been that one place where I was like, if something, I don't know, dramatic was to ever happen and I can't go back to the States and I had to live somewhere, it would definitely be New Zealand. Like the people are beautiful. Like the culture is awesome, nice weather. So I would have to say New Zealand. Jerusalem is another one as well. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, I always tell people, man, if something drastic was to happen and I had to move, I would move to Israel.
Israel.
Yeah, I moved to Israel.
Beautiful.
It's nice.
Last season was like my first like full season there, and it's dope. Everyone speaks English. The food is great. The culture is beautiful. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, and Australia, New Zealand is the one place, man, that I really wanted to go play. I didn't get an opportunity to, and they're like, "Well, you should go and visit." I'm like, only time I'm getting on that 20-hour flight is when I'm going to work. Otherwise, I ain't taking a 20-hour flight for vacation.
Right, man. Them 20 hours are nothing to play with, man.
So I want you also to talk about playing point guard in the U.S., whether it be the NBA, college, high school. It's more so about, kind of like a little bit of ISO, but more so about scoring as well as compared to playing the international game, as it being more cerebral, playing the pick and roll, really understanding the pick and roll and understanding where the pass was supposed to go. How was that adjustment from you going from playing point guard here to playing internationally?
It was a huge adjustment because when I first got overseas, I think Coach P does a great job in teaching us how to play all styles of basketball, whether you play for a team that gets up and down, a team that pounds it inside, a team that slows it down and play half-court game. I've never really had trouble with that because I felt like Coach P taught us the game well enough where we can adjust. But just being a point guard in the States and in international basketball is different. Because you can score all the points that you want, but if you're not making winning plays, you're most of the time we're not going to win at the end of the game internationally. Right. I don't know exactly how that works, but it's just a lot more than scoring when you play the point guard internationally. You have to set the tone. You have to push the tempo. You have to do so much where I feel as in America, I never played in the NBA, but I feel like, if a point guard gets his 20 and 10 or his 25 and 10, I feel like he's done his job. Now, what is the shooting guard doing? What is the three doing? You get what I'm saying? Where as far as in international, I feel like you got to do a little bit more by setting the tone and being there for your teammates.
Now, you've signed to play in France this upcoming season. So with everything that's going on now with the pandemic, with COVID, has your team said anything to you about the upcoming season, about the delays, or is everything still going to go on as planned with no fans? What have they said to you about the upcoming season?
Well, they said as of right now, everyone before showing up to training camp has to have a negative COVID test. You have to show negative on your test. And they said as of right now, the season has been pushed back at least a month. So things will start a little bit later. And I think they're letting the fans in. The arenas are like a 30% capacity. So everything is not completely back to 100% normal yet.
Dope. Well, now we've reached a part of the podcast, my brother, that we call the burn-proof segment of rapid-fire questions. We're going to shoot you some rapid-fire questions, man. Don't give it a lot of thought. Just roll with it. Give us your first answer.
Let's do it.
More important on the NYC playground, to be a scorer, to have the ability to score, or to have the handle?
Score.
Got to be able to score. That's more important than having the handle?
You got to be a scorer. I mean, in New York City, you could be the guy to get the oohs and the ahs, but the guys that they're going to talk about in the neighborhoods is the guy that had 40 or the guy that had 55. They don't care how ugly it is. If you did it all jump shots, all layups, if you could only go right, if you have 50 in the neighborhood, they're going to talk about it.
Bad. NYC pizza or the street hot dog?
NYC pizza.
Pizza
is a legend. It's what the city is known for, so I would take that over the hot dog.
All right. Favorite place to eat when you go to the Ville?
Favorite place to eat when I'm in the Ville? Sapporo's. Sushi spot on, I think, Barstown.
Yep.
Sapporo's have to. Every time I'm in the Ville, I have to go there.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite NBA analyst or commentator?
My favorite NBA analyst or commentator? I'll go with Mark Jackson. I like Mark Jackson. I like the little swag he puts in his little sayings, hand down, man down. I'll go with Mark Jackson.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Cardi B or Nicki Minaj?
Cardi B. I like them both, actually. But Cardi B has more of the, has the flow going right now, so I'll go with Cardi B.
Okay, a little bit more of the Spanish flavor too, I guess. Okay. This is a question we call franchise, sign, and wave. We're going to go New York point guard edition. So you got to franchise a guy that you're going to build your team around. You got to sign a guy that you're going to keep on the team, and you got to waive a guy that you just can't keep.
Got it.
Kenny Anderson, Stephon Marbury, Mark Jackson.
Oh, I'm going to franchise Stephon Marbury. I am going to sign. I'll sign Mark Jackson. And I have to waive Kenny. I love him.
Oh, you gonna waive Kenny Anderson?
I know, bro. I know. But Stephon Marbury got to get the franchise. One of my favorite players all time. And then Mark Jackson, I can't waive Mark. I can't waive him.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah. That's tough. I don't even know how I would do that one. I guess we depending on which level we talking about. If we talking about high school, I'm going franchise. But since we probably talking about professional level,
yeah.
Man, that's tough. I'm probably going. Man, that's tough. I'm gonna sign Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson's gonna be on my team because he's a winner. Lasted a long time in the league. I gotta keep him, but that means I gotta waive Kenny Anderson or Marbury. Marbury was probably a better talent. But Kenny Anderson was nice, man. Left-handed too.
And if you're talking about franchising, you have to build your team around.
I'm probably gonna franchise Kenny Anderson, sign Mark Jackson. I probably gotta waive Marbury. I'm probably gonna get killed for that.
Yeah. See, and I feel the same way. It's crazy, bro, because Stephon Marbury is one of my all-time favorite players. But then you think about when you franchise, you want a point guard that does a little bit of everything. I think Stephon is more scoring minded, maybe. I don't. That one's tough, man.
Yeah.
That was tough. That was tough.
Your childhood crush growing up.
My childhood crush growing up was it Christina Milian?
Christina
I was in love
Milian?
with. No. I take that back a little. It was Rev Run's daughter.
Angela Simmons?
Angela Simmons, wow. I was in love with her in high school, bro. Yep, Angela Simmons. Yep.
Okay. Toughest person you ever had to guard?
Toughest person I've had to guard by far, Ty Lawson. NCAA, was that 08 year, sophomore year? Yeah, bro. Fast, explosive. Can't really give him too much room because he can shoot it as well. You play up on him. He's just so strong and fast and low to the ground. To this day, Ty Lawson.
Yeah, he's tough and he's strong too.
Yeah, man.
Last question. Favorite hoop shoes of all time that you like to hoop in?
Nike Kyrie ones.
Nike.
To this day, I try to find them, and they're a little bit rare, but for me, the most comfortable and light shoe ever.
I think the most comfortable shoe for me, man, my favorite shoe was the Huarache 2K4s. Them
Yeah,
Huarache
with the strap
Kobe's.
across the top.
Yeah, with the strap across the top. Oh, man, I love
like
them.
those.
I love them.
So,
it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast, my brother, man. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your day to come through and join us, man. It's a pleasure to see you. You're looking good. Best of luck on the upcoming season, man. Do what vets do. Get out there, get buckets, make your team win, and just be great, man, like you always have been.
I appreciate you, LO, for having me on your show, and thank you so much, bro.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be coming down that way soon, man. I'm going to give you a hot – well, no, I ain't going to be coming down that way soon. But when everything clears back up, I'll be heading down that way to get a vacation.
Sounds good. Oh, thank you.
All right, that's a bet, man. Talk to you later.
All right, bro.